Stop. Okay, could you please call the roll?
Alderman Boyd,
Aye. I'm sorry, present.
Alderman Vaccaro,
Present.
Alderman Cone,
I know he's there.
Alderwoman Muhammad. I'm sorry, Alderman Muhammad, Alderman Oldenburg,
Present.
Alderwoman Middlebrook, Chairwoman Davis,
Present.
Alderman Cone,
Present.
Alderman Muhammad, Alderwoman Middlebrook,
She's
Present.
There you go.
6
All
present,
right.
you have quorum.
Thank you very much. We have an agenda today that I think is going to move pretty fast. But first, the next item is I'm going to wait to excuse the alderpersons for a few minutes, maybe to the end of the meeting. And we're going to be working with 5 airport bills.
Chairwoman,
And
we
what-
can't hear you if you're speaking, so I don't know if that's just me. But it looked like your voice was moving, but I can't hear anything.
Okay.
I can hear.
No,
I
okay.
can hear as well.
Okay. Can everybody hear me? Let's try to start again. I'll start again saying that I will excuse the alderpersons at the end of the meeting, and we're moving forward with 5 airport.
Sharita, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah.
Hear you?
We can't hear anything on our end, so.
We'll ask SLDC if they can do something about it.
Do you got your speaker on,
Are you logged
Rhonda?
into this via yours or no?
She might not have her speaker on. I've done that before.
Can you hear anyone else, Rhonda?
I can't hear any.
Oh, so she can't hear anyone.
She probably doesn't have her speaker on. I've done that before myself.
Right.
She needs to
Can
turn her
hear me.
speaker on.
So there should be some other staff members from the airport. Can you hear us?
Madam Chairman, this is Tom Ray. I can hear you.
Okay, and when Rhonda's name comes up, it shows that she's muted.
Well,
I
she's got
cannot
her
hear
mic,
her.
she's got her mic muted, but I think she's got her speaker off.
Yeah,
So she can't hear. Somebody needs to go turn her speaker on for her.
Antonio,
I think I've
here.
got let me make sure my microphone's up here. Hold on. Speech. Are you getting anything, Antonio?
Brian, can you hear?
Yeah, I'm just looking at making sure all of mine. Everything is kosher on
I think all of us can hear.
To the laptop, I mean, I wonder if.
Rhonda,
it's-
turn
the.
on
I've
your
always
speaker.
dialed in with the laptop.
Turn on your
here.
speaker. There you go. I like
This
that.
one.
She's got her speaker.
Okay, I think we've got it, folks. I apologize for that.
That's okay.
My apologies.
Yeah. So we're just going to move forward with the presentations from the airport. Our airport director is present, as well as Antonio Strong.
Madam Clerk, should we do the approval of the minutes from the?
I did skip right over that, didn't I?
Yeah, but
And
that's
you all
okay.
have to bear with me. I got a lot on my plate and I'm trying to rush everything.
No, that's okay.
Always stop me.
I want to make a motion that we approve the minutes of the Thursday, October 22nd meeting.
Second.
Again.
And then if the clerk could call the
Been
roll.
moved in second to adopt our minutes from 10:22. Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Alderman Boyd,
Aye.
Alderman Vaccaro,
Aye.
Alderman Cone,
Aye.
Alderman Muhammad, Alderman Oldenburg,
Aye.
Alderwoman Middlebrook,
Aye.
Chairwoman Davis.
Aye.
6 ayes votes.
Thank you very much. We've approved the minutes from 10:22:20. And now we'll go on to the agenda. Our airport director is present with a number of her staff, and we will look at the board bills that are before us. We have 5. Let's start with the first one listed here on our agenda. And I'm going to turn it over to you, Rhonda, so you can direct who will speak all of that for us.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I believe it's Board Bill 171, which is the Air Service Incentive Program. And I'm going to have Brian Kinsey. He's our Director for Air Service Development. I will have Brian present this one.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. This, what we're asking for approval on is the airport's air service incentive program for fiscal year 2021 through fiscal year 2023. The benefits conferred to the air carriers under this incentive program may not exceed $2.4 million during that period of time. Since 2007, the airport has had some sort of air service incentive program. This is the 5th time we've come before you to get approval on our air service incentive program. Also, since that time, the airport's enjoyed the addition of 53 markets that have received some sort of incentive for new service, some type of new service. So it's been very successful, and we feel that going forward, this is a very important program for us to have to continue to grow the service we have here at the airport.
Okay. Do we have anything else from you, Rhonda, on this bill?
The only thing I will say on this is we've been watching very closely other airports. You know, COVID had a significant impact with decline of operations across the country. We fared pretty well in that, especially with Southwest, who during the summer months kept mostly an intact schedule. And for most of December, we see that go back down in January and February. These incentives won't be for those airlines to bring back those markets. These incentives are for new markets or markets that an airline didn't currently serve. So I think airports have gotten very aggressive because they believe that a lot of service won't be coming back to them over the next couple of years. So what we're seeing in the industry is some very aggressive programs to try and lure the airlines to come to their markets. So I think from a competitive standpoint, we absolutely have to have this. You know, we do believe that our partnerships here with the airlines have been very strong. And going forward, we'd like to continue this program to make sure that we can take advantage of new markets. Again, this won't be applied to the markets that were pulled from an existing carrier during COVID, where they can now come back and restart them, because you would have to have been out of the market for 2 years to be eligible for this. So
Okay.
Brian and I both are happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay. So we'll start with our committee asking questions, and we'll start with you, Alderman Boyd, please.
No questions. Thank you.
All right. Alderman Vaccaro,
No questions.
Alderman Cone.
No question.
Okay. Alderman Oldenburg,
I have no questions. Thank you.
Alderwoman Middlebrook.
No questions. Thank you.
Okay, I don't have any questions either. I'm ready to accept a motion on this board bill 171.
I move to approve Board Bill 171.
And I'll second that. And previous role,
It's been moved and second with requesting previous role. I hear no objections. So we can, I will say that we have moved Board Bill 171 with a due pass recommendation. Thank you. And our next presentation, please.
Yes, I believe I'm showing that as Board Bill 168, the assumption of interest in lease with Spire. Is that correct?
Yes.
I will have Rob Salvano from our Properties Department will present it.
Okay.
Good morning, Alderman and Alderwoman. We're requesting your approval for an assignment and assumption of interest and the consent of the City of St. Louis to that assignment and assumption of interest for a lease agreement with Spire CNG, which was formerly known as Liquid Venture Corporation. Spire CNG operates a public access compressed natural gas fueling station on airport property off of Cypress Road. They want to assign this agreement to Spire, Missouri Incorporated, and this represents our approval of that assignment. It doesn't change any of the other facets of the agreement. The initial term of the agreement began on March 1st, 2013, and still ends December 31st, 2028. The lessee pays the airport a square foot rental rate that is currently 38 cents per square foot. And we also get a royalty of 10 cents per gallon, gasoline gallon equivalent of every gallon of CNG that they dispense at the station. We respectfully request your approval of this agreement.
Okay, thank you. Any supplement from you, Rhonda? Okay, we'll move forward. Any questions, Alderman Boyd?
No questions.
I have
Alderman
none.
Vaccaro?
No question.
No. Alderman Cone?
No question.
Alderman Oldenburg?
No questions, Madam Chair. Thanks.
Right. And Alderwoman Middlebrook?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Thank you. I have no questions. Do we have a motion for
Yeah, make a
approval?
motion, we pass the board bill out with a due pass recommendation.
Second.
Previous role,
Okay. It's been moved and second, requesting previous role. Hearing no objections, Board Bill number 168 has been approved for recommendation. Can we move forward to the next board bill, please?
Yes, Board Bill 172, the partial funding for the Air Service Incentive Program. This is the program that Brian just spoke about. Antonio will present our request for partial funding for year one.
Okay.
Good afternoon, committee members. This is directly related to the Air Service Incentive Program request that you heard from our Air Service Development Director, Brian Kinsey. This request is for your approval of the funding of the incentive program, which would take place within an initial appropriation of $1 million from the Airport Development Fund. This draft ordinance also authorizes supplemental transfers during this incentive period to fund the program periodically up to an amount not to exceed $2.4 million. The current balance of the ADF, unappropriated balance of the ADF account is 11.6 million, but we also have about 70 million that's appropriated for capital projects. So it has sufficient funding to support this program. And at this time, we respectfully request your approval to fund the Air Service Incentive Program.
Okay. Let's go for questions from the committee. Alderman Boyd,
No questions.
Alderman Vaccaro,
no questions.
Alderman Cohen, Alderman Cohen, Alderman Oldenburg.
I have no questions.
No question.
Okay, thank you. And Alderwoman Middlebrook.
No questions. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll accept a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion. We approve Board Bill 172 out with a due pass recommendation.
Second.
Previous
Uh,
roll.
There you go. All right, it's been moved in second with request for previous roll to pass Board Bill 172 with a due pass recommendation. Thank you on that. Let's go to our next board bill, please.
Yes, Board Bill number 183. It's the first amended and restated food and beverage concession agreement with OHM, and I will have Rob Salarano present this one.
Aldermen, Alderwomen, we're requesting your approval today for the first amended and restated food and beverage concession agreement with OHM Concession Group LLC. And first of all, just to note that OHM Concession Group is a locally owned company. They're 100% ACDBE, and they started out at the St. Louis Airport, and they've been a success story for St. Louis, I think. They also operate airport restaurants at Washington National, Washington Dulles, Baltimore Washington International Airport, Orlando Airport, and Pittsburgh International Airport. And I think one or two other smaller airports as well. In St. Louis, under this agreement, since 2014, they've operated a combined pasta house and Schlafly unit in Terminal 2. It's 1,525 square feet to the east end of Terminal 2 near Gate E4. The term of the agreement, as I said, it began in 2014. This extension extends the agreement 35 months, which begins on February 21st, 2021, and ends on December 31st, 2023. That end date was chosen to be commensurate with the end date of the Master Food and Beverage Concession Agreement with Host International Incorporated, which also ends on December 31st, 2023. The agreement also does contain one option for the city to extend the agreement for up to 2 years. The revenue to the airport is unchanged with the minimum annual guarantee of $375,000 versus a percentage of gross receipts that's applied in different categories, such as alcoholic beverages, non-alcoholic beverages, and food. We did include a minimum annual guarantee abatement clause in this contract. Under the terms and conditions of the agreement, the MAG owed to the airport on a monthly basis will be reduced by up to 5% increments up to 50% of the MAG. This is in response to what's going on with COVID and everything else in the downturn in business we've seen. This will give the concessionaire protection against owing the airport the complete and full MAG every month. The abatement occurs in any calendar month when enplanements fall below 30%. Under no event can the MAG fall below the 50% floor. As I mentioned, OHM is a 100% ACDBE certified corporation, and we respectfully request your approval of this first amendment.
Okay. I just need to ask one quick question here before we go to the committee. When you talked about offering this abatement, have you already offered this abatement to all the other providers?
So if you remember, we had the rental car concession, which was expiring December 31st. We brought that one forward through the commission and through the Board of Aldermen. We did a 1 year or 2 year?
It's a 2-year extension.
We did a 2-year extension on that. There was an abatement in that clause as well. It's a little bit different than the food and beverage because the transportation industry in that particular case isn't being affected the same as the on-site food and beverage. So what we've done, we had earlier in the year, there was brought forward for all of the concessions a 4-month deferral. That ultimately turned into a 4-month abatement. Those concessionaires, whether it was food and beverage, retail, taxi, parking, they all had the opportunity to pick 4 months between fiscal year 20, the April, May, June timeframe, and the first few months of fiscal year 21. They could pick the 4 months that they wanted the abatement form. That process has been finalized. All of those chose and picked the months that they wanted the abatement in, and we've applied that accordingly within our financial world here. So this contract is due to expire January 31st. So it very much like the rental car concession contract had a term that was expiring. So we did look to use the 2017 emplanements. That's the same employment year that we looked when we redid the concession with the rental cars. We know that 2019 was our best year in the last 15. So what we said was that we would also give them the opportunity, based on the reduction of passengers, going back to the 2017 year. So the answer to your question is a long one, I understand, but for any concession agreement that has not yet expired, there is not a new term in that agreement other than the 4-month abatement that we have already given to all concessions. So as a concession agreement expires and comes due, I think we were probably the first one in the industry with our rental car concession that actually had an expiration during COVID. I know the industry was watching what we were doing with that, because we do believe going forward, the contracts, especially for concessionaires, could look very different than the contracts that we've experienced in recent years, based on the COVID and the potential of that happening again. So I do think that as each contract comes to expire, you'll see some form of change in the way the MAG works with those as well.
Okay, so I was taking some notes, and I'm going to ask for clarity just on two things, and I'm going to the committee. So the rental car has a 2-year, and this one will be 35 months, and it will expire at the same time as the host contract. And
That's
that,
correct.
that to me is a little bit concerning. Running an operation that large and having two of your largest food providers contracts expire at the exact same time. If a fluke happens where there's argument a long time or there's no meeting of the minds to move forward, that puts you in a bad predicament. And I would think that I would do them differently, because it's not mandatory to do 35 months here.
No,
So,
right.
yeah, so I'm thinking it through, okay? And I just know that if I was managing that, I probably wouldn't do it that way. But I'm also looking at how so much benefit will come to this versus the group that's already in business with a contract. And if I understand it right, you said you gave other people a 4-month window to choose from.
No, they also got that 4-month window. They in their current agreement as it stands now.
So they already have that. They already have the 4 months.
Yes,
okay, all right. They already have it.
In Alderwoman, I think OHM is part of the host master lease as well. Within that agreement, they operate a number of restaurants under the master lease. A few years ago, host didn't want to do some expansions, and we wanted more expansions of restaurants. So we've gone out and done these one-off individuals. OHM won that contract as an individual for the Pasta Schlafly House in T2. So they are also part of the larger a larger host contract where they operate the Dunkin' Donuts and
Jamba Juice,
the wraps. I mean, there's a couple
Great
of
Wraps, yeah.
There's
Bagels.
a few other. So I think when we looked at this time frame, one, we were looking to give them enough opportunity that an extension made sense, because this one is on their dime. They're not shared with another partner in this one on the OHM. But so if for any reason they walked away in this lease, it is one restaurant. And we do believe that we would have lots of opportunity for others who would want to come in. However, they're very anxious to stay on board and continue to serve this restaurant. It is at gate E2. It does quite well for them. It is the only sit-down restaurant on that far east end of the terminal. So they're quite happy with that location, and they are open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. What we tried to look at was in conjunction with master lease of host, which expires at that date. It made more sense to try, since they are a partner in both cases, to try to work that lease through until that time. They also asked for that. That was something that they wanted to do as well. They were looking for a little bit longer lease, but we decided to tie it in, which they were quite comfortable with the expiration of the larger HMS host lease. So I hope that answers some of the concern there.
It does for the moment. So I need to get to the committee. I don't want to hold up them asking their questions. So let me get to them. Alderman Boyd,
No questions.
Alderman Vaccaro.
I do. I have concerns. Why 3 years plus 2 years when we're just dealing with this? Why not a 1 year extension while we're working our way through COVID? I'm fine with some of the MAG and all that, but 5 years, I'm hoping coronavirus is, I mean, if we're going to go out for bid, I get it, extended 1 year, but to extend it 3 years plus additional 2, I can't support that. I would support 1 year, that we extend their contract 1 year, and I'd be willing to amend it. I'd have to look at it to amend it, but I don't see I don't see why we're going to go 5 years when other companies may want to bid, maybe not, who knows, but we can't keep using this coronavirus as a never-ending extension, of these different leases. So I can say that I won't support it the way it is. I would support a 1 year extension. And that's really all I have to say. But during the vote, I won't support this. And I again would encourage the other committee members not to, and maybe bring it back, but I would encourage a 1 year extension, not a 3+2.
If I may, I don't think that I could get the concessionaire to support a 1 year extension based on their mags and their current, what they're going through out there now with their restaurants and the traffic. They work with their lenders. They work with everybody else on these extensions and financing this. And, as Rhonda said, they wanted a longer extension. We brought them down. And I think that the extension as it's currently written at 35 months is to the benefit of the airport to be able to make it commensurate with the host agreement. And to be, that's going to give us total freedom on, how we do our concession program, how we do our restaurant layouts. We're going to have a complete blank slate almost over in Terminal 2.
Well, then it should have been, the contract should have been originally a lot longer, and the other question I would have is why wouldn't this has been brought up 6 months ago, 8 months ago? I'm just saying at this point, I can't support it. I can support 1 year extension while we look into everything and see how the airplane picks up in enplanements. And I'm just saying where I'm at on this. I wanted to be open and honest so everybody knows on the board where I'm at. I would support a 1 year extension of the contract. I have no problem with the MAG, that with, depend on the enplanements. I get all that. But I think to say that we're still going to be having this problem, unless you're telling me that the airport's going to be as depressed as it is right now 5 years from now, or even 3 years from now. I think, just as a business person, that's my background, that I wouldn't have said, gee, we're going to freeze this particular thing in the car wash business for 3 years because of coronavirus, because we don't know, what's going to, but I would hope that by this summer, with the vaccinations, that this coronavirus is done. I really hope that people start to travel again, and that, I noticed when you're on the news, you're saying that, business is picking up, which is a good thing. I like that. I like, but to say, gee, we're going to go 3 plus an additional 2 is just not something I would support. I'd support 1 year, and then we can look at this, again, 3-4 months down the road. It doesn't mean that we wouldn't go an additional year or 2, but I think doing this all, I hate, and anybody that knows me, I hate when we get stuff at the end, it's like they did this when I was on the airport commission with the insurance, and they said, gee, well, if we don't extend it, the airport's going to have to shut down. We actually had to hold extra meetings. I know you weren't there at the time, Rhonda, but we had to hold extra meetings to make sure we had an insurance company in place, because the airport couldn't operate without insurance. The insurance company that had it at the time said, no, either we get the contract or we're dropping right now. And it was all this last minute. I don't like that. I don't like when bills are introduced with, got to get this done. It's just, this is the last day. It's a doomsday if we don't do it. I have to believe that these restaurants will stay working and open for the next year if we give them a 1-year extension and review this. And I would, but that's just me. I just want to be open on this. Why I don't support it. I'd support 1 year if somebody wants to amend it, or maybe the votes are there without my vote. But I'm just saying where I'm at on this particular, on this one particular bill.
Thank you, Alderman McCarl. I do think this is, we certainly didn't try to rush this through. We've been negotiating with this client for several months, trying to find a path forward. It's been difficult both for the airport and him. As I said, this is a 100% minority owned company. They also had to get additional financing to be able to stay afloat during this. Obviously, COVID has impacted our concessionaires greatly. We do know in the next 12 months, even with the vaccination, the industry has been very, very vocal that the traffic, especially from a business perspective, is not going to return to the 2019, 2018 levels that we saw, which were incredibly good years for us. So what we're looking at is trying to find a path that allows a minority vendor to stay afloat, give what we consider a very good restaurant with local names, which people love when they come to our airport, the opportunity to try and recoup after year 1 some of the monies that they were unable to enjoy this past year and this year going forward. If you believe the industry analyst, and I'd like to think that we can recover quicker than the industry here locally, but the industry analyst is saying we are not going to see 2019 numbers for the next 3 to 4 years. If that's the case, vendors were reliant upon that passenger traffic that we saw in 18 and 19. When they built this restaurant out, they made a significant investment in this restaurant. A good piece of that was wiped away this past year with COVID. So I think it's critically important that we take those things into consideration. We gave the rental cars a 2-year extension. Again, the 2-year extension on this one, it really is a 35-month. That's at the airport's sole discretion. That is not at their discretion. We would think that when we would do the master lease, that we would have probably not an opportune time to do the extension. But I don't feel comfortable in amending it at this point because I don't think that would be fair to the vendor, and I certainly don't think it would be fair to one of our minority partners out here. That's just my opinion. So I respect your input.
And
and
I'm only one vote. I'm not encouraging
I
the other
understand.
members. I'm encouraging everybody to do what they feel. I'm saying why I can't support it. What I would support is a 1 year, not 5.
Thank you.
That was all. It was just more my, but I'll mute myself so we can move on.
Okay, Alderman Cohen.
No question.
Okay, Alderman Oldenburg.
I don't have any questions. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, Alderwoman Middlebrook.
No questions, thank you.
Okay, so I think I just got confused. Okay, you all started talking about 5 years, and I thought this was only a 3-year extension.
If I may, it's a 35-month extension to December 31st, 2023. And then there's a 2-year option that it's the airport's discretion. The airport must offer the option term and the concessionaire must accept it.
Oh,
If we don't offer it, they don't get it.
that makes
And
sense.
so it does not come back to us.
Now, at the end of 35 months, it comes back to the airport.
Right. So it's 5 years.
No, sir. It goes till December 31st, 2023. And after that, at that point, we can either choose to offer them an extension of the agreement, or we can say, no, we want that space back.
It
That's
doesn't
our
come back,
discretion.
it doesn't come back to the Board of Aldermen. It's at the airports.
Well, I mean that the agreement would expire in December 31st, 2023. And of course, whatever we do with this space, then if we go out for another bid or another agreement, that would come back to the Board of Aldermen.
But if you don't, it wouldn't.
Right. If we offer the option term, you're correct. It wouldn't come back to the Board of Aldermen for the option term.
Right. I'm going to mute myself because
So, okay,
stay out of this.
all right, sir. So now you've given me clarity, and now I can say, I don't agree with that. Because at the end of the day, you can do a 1 year or 2 year contract right now, and you always have that option, which you've already put in there, that you could give another 2 years extension without even coming back to us. So then when we talked about you were trying to end those two at the same time, you can do that by not doing these additional years, which would end up being 5. So I kind of got it cleared up in my head now. Okay.
We could take out the option, yes.
Yeah. So what I would prefer, and it's just a little it's too cloudy, and it's not actually in sync with the other one that's going to end in, as you said, in 35 months. Because technically they can end up with 5 years and not even have to go into another bid process. So I think you really need to adjust this. And if it's okay with you, Rhonda, I don't want to hold you all up today trying to come up with language and all of that. If we just not take a vote on this particular bill today and go back and read, I know you have to go back and talk to the owners, but if we can make this have a little bit more consistency in how we move forward, where it's not giving away additional years without having the proper flow of business by coming back to the board.
I am happy to amend this to take out the option term. We can certainly tell the vendor that that has been removed. I'm not open to amending the 35-month term, but I will offer an amendment to take out the option term. And I would ask if you could accept that as that and try to move forward if possible. This restaurant will close on the 31st. I have no way to keep them open if this amendment is not adopted. So again, I am happy to offer up an amendment that removes the option piece if that seems to be a concern. We didn't feel that that would have been a concern with people since it was at the airport's discretion. But if that's a concern to the team, we are happy to remove that.
Well, I think that you could definitely, I think we can do that. Is our clerk on board?
I'm sorry, is that, were you?
Our Board of Alderman clerk, is he on the line?
No, he's not, but I can get him on the phone and I can also
Oh.
call Lou
Lou
Galley.
Galley is on the
Lou,
line.
yeah, Lou is on.
Okay, so let's go ahead and open it up for Lou. Can you give us an opinion?
I'm sorry, Chairwoman, were you addressing?
Lou Galley, I'm sorry, Lou Galley, could you give us an opinion?
Alderwoman, I apologize. I was on the phone with one of your colleagues. Could you repeat the question?
Sure. We are discussing an amendment to this board bill. And wait a minute. I'm looking at other things while I'm trying to talk to you. So this is Board Bill 168.
No, 183.
183.
I'm sorry,
183.
183. No?
Yes, 183.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm looking at the wrong line. Okay. So let's let the two lawyers talk here for a second. Okay. And let's see what we can come up with. Go right ahead and explain, Rob.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, what we're talking about is that there's the term of the agreement as written is approved by the Airport Commission and negotiated with the concessionaire OHM includes a term extension of 35 months to December 31st, 2023, and also contains 1 2-year option term that's at the airport's discretion. In other words, the airport must offer, and then the concessionaire must accept the extension for the extension to be valid. That's referred to in the agreement as an option term. And I want to make sure I get this correctly, Alderwoman, is the question is, can we remove at today's meeting, can we ask the airport remove that option term from the agreement? Amend the agreement to remove the option term and go forward in that regard.
That's it. Yeah.
I would ask if you would allow me, I would ask that we do 2 years, which I think is more than fair, with no option, that we amend it to 2 years, not 3, and no options. I would think we'd have a good feel for how things look. You know, when was the last time this thing?
It was 2000.
When was this contract bid? How long have they been there?
2013 is when the contract was bid, and then they built that out. If you remember, sir, that restaurant was not a restaurant. It was a gatehold area. So they invested the money to build a restaurant, and they opened in 2014 after about a 6-month build-out period.
So they've been there 6 years.
Yes, sir.
With a very significant.
And I assume the original contract was not for 6 years or 7 years, so we've probably extended it once already, right?
No, sir. This is the first amendment. We have not extended the agreement or touched the agreement since that date.
Oh, so it's been there for 6 years. The last contract was in 2013.
Well, that's when this contract was bid. Before that, the space did not exist.
No, I understand. What I'm saying is,
There was a build-out period for that. So the build-out period.
right,
The contract was executed in 13, but because of the extensive build-out period,
right.
it did not start for 6 months. They had a 6-month
Right.
window for
Okay,
build-out.
so 14, I get it. We'll say a year. Let's say 14.
That's correct.
And
So it'll be 6 years.
This is 21. So the original contract was for 6 years?
Yes.
That's correct, with a substantial investment on their behalf.
Okay. And I get that. Okay. I'm just, and again, I'm only one. I'm not even, the whole rest of the board might vote for this. I just would be more comfortable with 2 years and no thing. And I'm sorry, Jeffrey, want to speak? I'm going to jump off again.
Oh, I see it. I see.
Okay.
So Alderman Vaccaro is going to stop for right now. I see your hand, Alderman Boyd. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to add a few comments. As a business owner, and I can only imagine you having a concession at the airport, which is very expensive to lease out at the airport. And with COVID-19 and travel being down as much as been down, certainly there are a lot of businesses that have been financially harmed. I personally think it's fair to do the extension. I do hear the concern about an kind of like an automatic 2-year extension, if you will, without coming back to the Board of Aldermen. However, I'm wondering if a compromise could be a simple amendment that says something about if the airport offers it, but the Board of Aldermen has to approve it too. You know what I'm saying? So you can leave it in there so that people that are financing this organization could feel more comfortable. And if a person does well, there's no reason for the airport not to offer it, and it shouldn't be any reason why the Board of Aldermen not support it. Although we'll have a different Board of Aldermen then.
Right.
So who knows what will happen. But I'm thinking maybe that could be a little, compromise that you kind of keep it in there. If I'm the business owner out there, I feel more comfortable knowing that I have an opportunity to get a 2-year extension after this expires, then it may go out for competitive bid.
The airport would support that, certainly. And we could add that into the option term language with our legal team to say that the Board of Aldermen, that any option term must be approved by the City Board of Aldermen.
That's just my suggestion, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you, sir. Because we've had this lengthy new conversation, I'm going to go through the committee again. Alderman Cohen.
I thank you, Madam.
Okay.
No, hold on. I'm here. I'm muted. I want to make sure that it seems as though folks are on the same page in terms of what needs to be done. Can we have Golly or our assistant clerk draft language for an amendment to the board bill? Because it sounds as though, according to the airport director, as though we would need to pass this out today because they have, the lease that needs to be, renegotiated for the vendor that's currently there at OHM. So I don't want to disrupt OHM's operations at the airport and have a restaurant shut down unnecessarily, as we're trying to, negotiate the finer points of the contract in terms of just its, extension kind of a thing. So do we have either Mr. Golly or,
Yes, he's alive.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Alderman Cohen, I think that the question here is the Board of Aldermen able to change the lease agreement here? I do not have any objection to the lease agreement being changed by the airport who negotiated the agreement. If they would like to change that, or if they're able to do that without objection from the other party, I don't see the need for the Board of Aldermen to necessarily amend the bill.
The bill is the contract, though.
Yeah.
Right. The contract.
Oh no, we have to amend the bill. You can't have two legal documents opposite of each other. That just won't work.
But to note that the bill is that the contract has been amended in the agreement, or the agreement has been amended in the bill. Did I make myself clear there?
No, but that won't work because the contract hasn't currently been amended. The airport is just acknowledging that they would amend it. So it has not presently been amended at the time that we would be passing this. So we should be amending our board bill to reflect the language that we're setting forth this morning. And then the airport commission can then go back and re-ratify or work on the amendments for the contract directly. So we need to pass a board bill that reflects what we're speaking about today. And then the airport commission and airport employees can go back with the vendor and amend the contract directly based off of the feedback that we've provided today.
I understand the issue then now. So the board bill would have to be amended to authorize this change in the contract. Is that where you're going?
Yes, and I'm happy as the airport director to put forth the language to alter that. We are happy to put in the language, offer the language that says it must require the Board of Aldermen approval if a 2-year option is entered into, or I can remove the 2-year option. It is, I think we would be comfortable either way. So once I know what is the request of the board, I will offer that as an amendment.
And I would suggest, at least based off of the feedback from colleagues, that we just simply remove the 2-year option component. And then that way we would have to come back to the Board of Aldermen, in order to address that at a future date. So that way, at least the current contract is, agreed upon, moves forward. The option portion is removed from the ordinance and would have to come back before the Board of Aldermen at a later date.
Chairwoman, would you like me to offer that amendment to remove the option?
We can offer that amendment. And as the Alderman was speaking, it came to my mind that it brings no harm to the operator, because you said that a contract would expire at the same time as host. So they would be renegotiating at that point anyway. So it just really wouldn't hurt anything. I do know, and I haven't forgot, Alderman Vaccaro, you had a concern about the number of years for the contract. So that part of it, I hope makes this better, because you really clarified it for us early on that technically it was a 5-year contract.
Yeah, I don't have, it seems to me like the majority of the committee is going to vote in favor of this. My no vote is just going to be probably more symbolic, because I'm sure it's going to pass, but it just has to do with, to extend it even to 3 years, when really 1 year, they've already been there 6. And we need to get a look at, because we're adjusting the MAG too. We're adjusting how much they're paying us. There's a lot more to it, and I don't want to confuse it any more than it is, because I believe it'll pass. I just can't support it. There's a lot more adjustments here than what we're saying, because we're saying, if the employment falls below a certain amount, then they only going to pay us 50%, but that being the lowest amount of what they owe. So if they owed us $100, they would only have to pay $50, and it just, I don't want to confuse it any more than I've already confused it. Let me do my no vote. I feel better about it. Let's have a vote and let's move on. I just from my own personal, it just doesn't seem right. It would be like us at the car wash saying we're going to drop the price of car washes by 50%, even though we're not going to be making any money. We're going to be losing money, but we're going to do it for 3 years, not for just one, and then look at how, we adjust that MAG a year from now. It's a lot more to it, and I don't want to confuse it any more than I already have. So I'm ready to move on. Just, it seems like it'll pass. Let me do my no vote, and I'll be happy. And
I clarify one thing. You mentioned that the MAG would reduce, but we would always collect a percentage fee. So we're protected on the upside. If their revenue goes above what the MAG would be, we still collect a percentage fee based on the total.
I understand, but if it doesn't, it goes down to no less than 50%.
Correct.
So instead of saying I think you're going to make it worse by arguing this, but so what you're saying is,
Confusing.
gee, if you're not making as much money, you can pay us a lot less. But you can't pay us any less than half of what you said you would pay us, which cuts into the money that the airport makes. And we're going to say that's fine for 3 years when really, I could see a year. But I think you're making it worse by arguing it because you're just going to make it more confusing. Let me do my no vote because I see it differently than you do. I see it as impacting the amount of money that the airport is going to be making, even though we say you can't drop, less than this. It's like if I went to McDonald's and said, gee, because my income, I want hamburgers at 50%. And they said, well, that's fine. I get it. But I want hamburgers for 50% for 3 years, just in case things don't get better. I only want to pay half price. No business person is going to say, gee, that sounds like a good deal. I could see where you'd say, gee, let's look at this a year down the road. Let's hope things are getting better. But I do think you're making it worse by arguing it because I will argue this end to no end. I will argue this end. Let me have my no vote. I'm not asking the other members to vote with me. I'm just saying this is why I have an objection to it. I think the 3 years, even the 3+2 seems, and I understand and I don't know that how this is being amended. So far, we're just doing this verbally, where technically, if you would have waited to the last minute, we would have had to have another meeting with the new amended contract in front of us. So we're doing this on good faith, which I've never seen us do before. But as I said, we should just do the vote because the more you argue, I think the more you're confuse it for everybody. But we're going to do this based off of you're saying you're going to change this. We're going to pass it. If you don't change it, I guess, well, shame on us. Because now we're doing something saying, well, I'll pay you for a hamburger tomorrow if you give it to me today. You're saying we're going to amend this, but we're doing this. We don't have anything in writing. We don't have it on the board bill. As I said, you probably don't want to argue this because you're going to make it worse. I'm ready to move on. I just am explaining why. I explained why I have concerns, and there's a couple concerns I have. And
Alderman, we were putting it in writing. It's being drafted. I asked specifically for it to be put into writing. And if the clerk or our legal counsel was working on that currently, the chair affirmed that they were. The airport director is in agreement with moving forward in this direction. So, I understand that you are okay with us doing nothing, but I think you brought up a point that others agree with, and we are trying to gain consensus on how to move forward correctly and within the guidelines and within our rules to address this. So I think, we should have something momentarily that reflects the verbiage that we need to amend or just revise or eliminate a section of the board bill so that it addresses these concerns.
I understand.
That's my understanding.
So I understand. Do you think, I would ask Alderman Cohen, if you think, or actually Chairwoman, if you think it's going to take 10 or 15 minutes for the sake of the meeting, maybe we move on to the other two board bills, come back to this one with the amendment in 20 minutes or whatever.
We will, but I'm trying to make sure that we know exactly what we're doing. And I needed to hear from everybody. Alderman Boyd, do you still need to have another comment?
I don't, Madam Chair, but I need to let you know that 11:15, I'm going to have to jump off.
Okay, I thank you for that notice. So I believe that they can continue to work on that. I'm just going to throw this in because it's something that could be considered and it still really wouldn't change anything as far as harming the restaurant, because we all know 2 years from now, if God is willing, we will definitely be moving in a better direction with travel. But I also know that Alderman Vaccaro, you're talking about 1 year, and that just doesn't work.
No, that's me. And we can always, vote this out, although I'd still be a no vote, and then amend it on the floor if this is going to take forever, if we don't want to lose Alderman Boyd.
Well,
Jerry, it's your meeting, so I'm just. All I
okay.
did was say why I'm not in favor. I didn't ask everybody to follow me. I just said.
No, well, there were others who had concerns. We've all voiced our concerns. So it's a combination of a number of things. And as we had continued to discuss it, we found ourselves pretty much in the same place. So it's not about your opposition to anything, but we wanted to make sure that all of us are feeling okay about it. So let's move forward. The two attorneys are going to work together on the amendment, okay? And we'll come back and vote on that, and we'll be fine, okay?
Okay, it looks like the clerk's raising his hand.
Yeah. Madam
Okay,
Chairwoman,
go right ahead.
the board's
Sir.
counsel needs to contact the airport director. He's trying to reach her. He sent you a chat.
Yes, I see that, and I will call him and we'll tell him which section to remove,
Right,
which
that's
just
what he
simply
needs.
removes the option.
Okay, then, thank you. That's all I had, Madam Chairman.
All right, thank you very much.
I didn't dial, hit the green.
So we're going to move forward to our next board bill while they're preparing the amendment. Okay?
Hi, sorry. Alderman, Alderwoman, we're requesting your approval of a First Amendment to the Airport Use and Lease Agreement. The Airport Use and Lease Agreement is the governing document that we negotiate with signatory airlines that really governs their operation at the airport and the airport's business relationship with these airlines. There are currently 11 signatory airlines. This First Amendment extends the expiration date of the current Airport Use and Lease Agreement, and where applicable for signatory airlines such as UPS and Federal Express, extends their cargo addendum. It extends the term of the agreement to June 30th, 2022, and includes a 1-year mutual renewal option. The amendment also prorates the signatory commitment of the airlines, which over the 5 years was $1 million, and it'll go to $1.2 million now as a signatory commitment. We respectfully request your approval of this First Amendment to the Airport Use and Lease Agreement.
Okay, thank you. Alderman Boyd, any questions?
No questions.
Okay. Alderman Vaccaro?
No questions. This sounds like a good deal.
Okay. Alderman Cohen?
No question.
Okay. Alderman Oldenburg?
No questions.
Alderwoman Middlebrook?
No questions, thank
All right. And I don't have any questions on this one, so I can accept a motion.
I'll make a motion. We pass Board Bill 185 out with the do pass recommendation.
Okay. Do I hear a second?
Previous rule.
Okay. It's been moved and second to pass. I'm looking at too many things here.
Board
Pass
Bill
the Board Bill
185.
188 out of the do pass recommendation.
I'm
185.
sorry, Chairwoman, who seconded that motion? Was it Alderman Cone?
I did.
Oh, Alderman
Boyd.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So we've done.
Chairwoman, may I?
Go right ahead.
Mr. Gawley had sent me the phone number in the text, but it's got one too many digits in it, so I'm not sure which digits should be left off. I was trying to call him to tell him which section to remove that had the option verbiage, but he's got one too many digits in the phone number that was listed.
If he's listening, it's section 402.
Right, it is section 402, sir, so that purely has the option. So the request is just to remove the option piece on that. So simply take
Thank you,
out.
Rhonda.
Thank you.
Make sure it says section 402 and whatever lines that encompasses that whole section. So it is complete and accurate. Okay, where am I at here?
Board Bill 196.
Okay, so we can move forward with that board bill.
The
Madam Chairman,
It's not ours, yes, 196, not ours.
Okay, board bill
Madam
196.
Chairman, I can address 196 unless the Alderwoman Middlebrook wants to. It's up to her.
Right, no, I have you listed on here, but we'll allow Alderwoman Middlebrook to open on her board bill. And then if she
Very good.
needs your assistance, she will ask for it.
Very good. Thank you.
Alderwoman Middlebrook?
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Board Bill, I'm sorry, let me get my notes. Board Bill number 196 authorizes a new lease agreement with the City of St. Louis and United Fruit and Produce Company for a period of 5 years with 4 5-year mutual options for the purpose of parking United vehicles at an annual base rent of $1,000 with a 2% annual escalator for the first 5 years. And it'll be near 2226 North First Street. And Roland Comfort is here if anyone has any questions.
Okay, let's go through the committee. Alderman Vaccaro?
Boyd's first. I'm sorry. Alderman Boyd's first.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I looked right over his name.
That's
Alderman
okay.
Boyd?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Thank you. And Alderman Vaccaro?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Alderman Cohen?
No questions.
Counseling facility that is taking space, and then we have
Alderman Oldenburg?
No questions.
other medical.
Okay. So Alderwoman Middlebrook, you can close on your board bill, please. Alderwoman Middlebrook?
Whoops, I'm sorry. I asked for your favorable consideration for this board bill. Thank you.
Thank you. I wanted to share with you that I do sit on the Port Authority Board, and we had not been receiving any funds on that. And we're doing a lot of things in a much more productive way and challenging the revenue stream to be increased so that we're dealing with this economy of today and not the economy of the 70s or 80s. So I'm very happy to see this. And now I'm willing to accept a motion to approve.
And I'll make a motion. We approve Board Bill 196 with the due pass recommendation.
I second.
It's been moved in second
Previous roll.
and previous row. Hearing no objections, we now have passed Board Bill 196 with a due pass recommendation. And now we need to go back and see if we're ready to move forward. Mr. Ghali, are you ready? Okay. Rhonda, do you know anything on your end?
Alderwoman, I was on the phone with the clerk. I am trying still to get hold of Rhonda just to speak with her. If she could have their attorney give me a call, both the clerk and I are trying to get a hold of her. or somebody from the airport that can work with this.
I'll call right now.
We are going to go ahead and move forward on a couple other things. I need to excuse the alderman from the meeting today, that Alderman Muhammad. And also for we don't have any resolutions for discussion and or preview, and we currently don't. Well, I can't say that. So, does the committee have any items that they would like to discuss for future business or action?
No, I would have a question.
Okay, go right ahead, sir.
Well, just because Alderman Boyd has to leave in like 1 minute, I don't. I mean, what if we pass
We
this?
still have a quorum.
What if
We still have a quorum.
Okay, otherwise we can always amend this on the floor.
No, but we still have a quorum. We're good.
I just didn't want, because, yeah, I just don't, I mean, because I know he has a different opinion than mine, and I just, I don't want to disrespect anybody's opinion.
Well, he said that he's okay, so we've covered that already.
Okay.
Anybody else have anything? For announcements, I don't have anything. I don't know if any other board committee member has anything. So as we go back to the resolving this, if it can't be done in the next 5 minutes, then we should go ahead and take the vote, and it'll have to be amended on the floor. But I would prefer our committee to send our business out in order.
Madam Chair, can I make a recommendation that we recess for 5 or 10 minutes for bio breaks and maybe grab lunch for those of us that eat lunch a little early?
Yeah. So I don't have a problem with that. Does anybody else have a problem with that? And that would give me a chance to do something real quick that I'm trying to do while I'm doing this.
No problem with that.
Okay, so can we come back at 11:30 and pick this up?
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
I'll stay on.
Yep.
So STL, we're going to take a recess and come back at 11:30. We are now coming back from our recess. It's 11:32. We want to make sure that our members are present and that communication has been moving forward. And what I'll do is I'll start with you, Rhonda, to see where we are.
Yes, thank you, Chairwoman. I did speak with Lewis. We referred to make sure that he understood the section we were talking about. There are not numbered pages on the agreement, and there's not a line number, but the section that I asked Lewis to pull out was section 402, option term, under Article 4 of the full concession term. So he has removed that out and was, I believe, trying to either speak or reach you to confirm that he has removed that section.
So our board clerk has been working with Lou, and technically all he needed to do was type one sentence saying just what you said for the amendment, and we can move forward. And hopefully our clerk and your attorney, I had asked our clerk to work with your attorney as well, our board clerk.
Okay.
So I think we're probably ready. And Robert, have you received what you needed?
A verbal, yes. I haven't seen it in writing, but I'm comfortable with that. Did you have something to add? Oh.
No, we've shared the number with with Mr. Galley, and we'll remove section 402. And I'll also let the concessionaire know, and I'll explain it to them. And I don't anticipate any issue from the concessionaire side.
Okay, I thank you. Board Clerk, are you available, Mr. Kennedy? Last I chatted with him, I think he needs to redo it.
Chairwoman, I can call and ask him the status of it.
Yes, please, thank you.
He's on now, Alderwoman. He's getting in touch with the legal counsel.
Thank you.
No problem.
I'm getting ready to send it to you now, Madam Chairman.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you.
The amendment has been emailed to all of the members, as well as put up on the drive for their reference. A copy was also sent to the airport director.
I have my copy.
Okay. To your email address.
Yes, to my email. I have it right in front of me now.
Okay. And it's also in the Google Drive.
Right. So we're gonna have to take 2 votes to do this. And one, to bring the board bill as amended in front of us, and then, so.
Did we lose the chair?
I don't seem to have anybody. Who's here? Let's see.
I don't see her.
Everybody's here. I see Alderman Cone.
I don't see Alderwoman Davis. There she is. There she is.
Yeah,
I got knocked off once myself, so.
We're all back.
Let me go here. I'm sorry for that delay. So we can, the amendment looks appropriate to me, and I've just asked the clerk to go ahead and put it in Google for the committee members. And Rhonda, you said you already received it?
I have not yet, but it could be coming across anytime. I'm comfortable because we know which section needed to be removed, and I believe that's the section that was removed.
Right, and we can ask the board clerk to read it for you so that you can be, I don't want to, I don't like going on doing things blindly, I'll put it that way. So we'll move forward, okay? What is wrong with my audio? My goodness. Okay, so Mr. Kennedy.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you mind reading that amendment for us, please?
Are you ready for it now?
Yes, sir, we are ready.
Okay, that would be amendment number 1 to Board Bill 183 to amend said Board Bill, Article 4, Section 402, options of the first restated and amended concession agreement AL-120 attached to Board Bill number 183 as attachment 1 as follows. Article 4, Section 402 of the first restated and amended concession agreement AL-120 options is deleted.
That's it.
That's correct.
And that was emailed to you, Madam Director.
Yeah, I have not seen it yet.
Okay,
Mr. Kennedy.
I'll do it again.
Okay, thank you.
So committee members, if anybody has any objections to what they heard, please let us know.
No, I would just make a motion. We accept the amendment to board bill number 183, if you're taking that, because then we could vote on the bill as amended. First, we have to
introduce the amendment and pass it first.
Right.
Then we pass the bill.
We have to introduce the amendment to the bill.
Right.
We have to introduce the bill as amended. So the first thing would be to make a motion to, we know the amendment, we just had it read, amendment number 1 to board bill 183.
We haven't approved it yet.
No, I'm saying I'm making a motion. It's up to you if you'll accept the motion. I'm saying I make a motion that we amend, we do amendment number 1 to board bill 183, that we amend, then we'll have the right bill in front of us. But you have to accept the motion, that's up to you. I'm just trying to move it along.
Okay, we're going to take the process of introducing amendment number 1, and I'll take a motion to introduce amendment number 1.
So I'll make the motion.
Second. I second the motion that we adopt amendment number 1 to board bill number 183.
Thank you very much. Did I hear a previous?
Previous role.
Previous role, I'm fine with previous role.
Okay. So it's been moved and second to adopt amendment number 1 to Board Bill 183 with previous role, and there is no objection to that. So we have approved that amendment.
So
And now we would like to have a motion to approve Board Bill 183 as amended.
I move that we approve Board Bill 183 as amended.
and I would object to previous role because my vote's going to be whatever. It's going to be no, but it's just, it'll be okay.
So we will have a roll call.
Yes.
Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Alderman Boyd,
Aye.
Alderman Vaccaro,
No.
Alderman Cone,
Aye.
Alderman Muhammad, Alderman Odenberg,
One second.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, Alderman Odenberg. Alderwoman Middlebrook,
Aye.
Chairwoman Davis,
Aye.
Alderman Muhammad, Alderman Odenberg. 4 aye votes and 1 no vote.
Oh, with the vote, the board bill has passed. Is there anything else that any committee member has that we need to discuss before we adjourn?
I make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you
All
very
right.
much for your time.
Thank you all for your lengthy involvement today. And I know that we probably would have been better off if we had brought this back for a discussion or further discussion, but I think we're all good. We're comfortable. Board bill has been passed and we can move on with our business. So I thank you all very much. Meeting is adjourned.